people, how are you all? I'm back again. This is your host, Mona Lisa Joshi, and this is my talk show called Mona Lisa's Talk Show. You all know me. I'm also a publisher and I run a contemporary publishing house called Chrysanthemum Chronicles. And this is my virtual talk show, and I have another interesting guest with me today who is a radio jockey, an author. She's a playback singer, and she writes lyrics. So she wears many hats. So let's quickly welcome Sharon Joseph. So, welcome, Sharon. How are you?
I'm doing very well, ma'am. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on board here.
All my pleasure, and I'm really great. And I'm so honored to have you. And I'm looking forward to talk to you and know your journey as well.
I'm excited to share my humble journey with you as well.
Lovely. So, since I've mentioned that you are an RJ radio jockey, so I would really love to know that how did your career into becoming a jockey start? And you are also a singer. So, please tell me about your journey.
So, primarily, I began as a playback singer. I have been interested in so I have been interested in music since a very very young age, and writing के बारे में तो मैं बाद में ही बताऊंगी ही. So I started singing at the age of 3. My mom and dad used to encourage me a lot, and I'm a trained Carnatic singer. Born and brought up in Pune, I've been trained under Mrs. Meenakshi Subramanian. She still carries on her journey with little children. So I think I have been the youngest with her, and the oldest, in fact, thereafter. I left her only, I didn't leave her actually. There was no way to shuttle MBA studies and then a job at that point of time in Pune. So then I had to slowly withdraw. But then my playback singing journey started as soon as I got married, I would say. It was thanks to my husband, Joseph George, and now a very good friend and a very popular music director, Major Joseph from the South, for which whose movie I played back in 2014. The movie's name is Hangover. And I would say the playback journey has been here and there and everywhere, because it's a every industry has got its own share of competition and stuff. So here again, now you asked me about RJing. RJing, I'm just a year old, to be very honest. It was in June 2023 that I began as a radio jockey. And that too came as an offer from a very dear friend who was like, would it be good for you, or would you find time to do some jogging for us? I was like, are you joking about jogging? So he was like, why would you say so? So then I just happened to tell him that once upon a time, when I was doing my graduation studies in Pune, there was this RJ hunt that happened from Radio Mirchi. And the moment I went there, I spoke however I could. I think I was good, but the only the only reason for them to reject me was my voice. Like, okay. So like, you sound very unpleasant on the radio, you wouldn't do that great. And like, fine. So I told the same story to my friend here, and he was like, nah, nothing like that. You've got a very husky voice. I think you'll do great. Let's start off with a little bit of Malayalam and see. I'm a Malayali, born and brought up in Pune, but still my parents and everybody are from Kerala and currently residing in Kochi. So then the pilot episodes, I used to speak a little bit of English, a little bit of Hindi, a little bit of Malayalam, and then now it's like completely Hindi. So now I'm successfully handling a show my radio station is called Sarga Kshetra 89.6 FM. For their 9 to 11 segment every Tuesdays, I stream Bollywood songs. So my program is called Bollywood Ke Anokhe Rang RJ Sharon Ke Sang. And I thoroughly enjoy it because being here and discovering new Hindi songs is like a challenge for me, to be very frank, because I am like probably old school. I love to listen to old Hindi songs like Lata ji's, Asha ji's songs. But, the current generation is like you have to mix every era of Bollywood. So though challenging, I get to hear many beautiful songs, and I'm really, really enjoying it, and talking stuff that probably relates with me, relates with every age group, is what I do for those 2 hours. And I really hope I have people enjoying me, listening to me. This is how it has been.
And I noticed that you also have your YouTube channel where you have put up videos of your singing, your voice. So is it that something that you are doing as part of your playback singing, or it's your solo journey that you are uploading those videos?
The ones on YouTube are mainly my solo journeys. It's I just want to keep the music going, the music alive. And abhi social media is the trend of social media. So now this week, hopefully, I plan to release a short cover of a Malayalam song. So it just keeps going. Whenever I have the time, I put up something. Playback, I told you, it's basically didn't. I won't say took a back seat, but after my daughter was born, we artists have this strange thing of going and recording like after 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock at night. Then at least my voice, I feel, comes out the best during that time. And with the current situation, I have a 6.5 to 7 year old daughter. Considering her, considering family, I think singing wouldn't actually do well right now. So
Okay.
that is how I am with writing, RJing, and my full time job as well. So
Lovely.
each me
So
if I
that
get time to sing is when I put up those covers in YouTube and Instagram.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so I was noticing in your profile that you have mentioned you sing in 7 different languages. So my curiosity here is that are you actually a multilinguistic? Have you learned these languages, or it have some technique to do such kind of thing?
I would say I know Hindi, Marathi, Malayalam very well. English, of course,
Okay.
very well. Tamil, I understand. I don't speak, but my diction is okay because I'm a Malayali anyway. And Telugu is again my diction is fine because my Carnatic music majorly the songs are in Telugu. So
Okay.
that's how I am like comfortable singing in these languages. But if you ask me to speak in these languages, I would say the major four only. Tamil, I
Okay.
can handle if something is given to me and if I have to do dubbing and all, I would be able to do it. And Korean just happened, to be honest, because I am a lover of K dramas and K pop. And there was a song that was released with the intention of love, sound of harmony. So many languages are there in it. So
Okay.
the music director asked me if I could do some, outside language, not an Indian one. So I was like, I'll try Korean. So I
Okay.
did have a Korean madam also who helped me with it. And that's how Korean happened.
Okay. Very nice. So otherwise, at home, which is the language that like you all speak?
Malayalam. We speak in our mother tongue only.
Okay, Malayalam. That's nice.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your book, the debut that you have written, Terrors of Midnight. So I was noticing that you've mentioned this is a parapsychological thriller, right? So firstly, I
Yes.
want to know what is parapsychological you are trying to portray here, and secondly, why did you choose this title?
Oh, okay. So I'll first say why I chose this title. Because the book, if the readers have to read, will actually understand that the title blends with the story. So every paranormal event that is happening exactly at the midnight hour. So like
Okay.
from 12 to 1, 11:55 is like, the transition time to when the nightmare happens. So basically, there's a nightmare occurring consistently throughout the book. And that nightmare is what keeps the whole book going. So therefore, Terrors of Midnight, it's quite terrorizing. I won't say, chilling you to the bone, I won't say. And that is one more reason why I call this a parapsychological thriller, because there's a very thin line between the paranormal and our real mind in this book. So even when the reader finishes reading the book, many of my readers did come and ask me, was this really what happened or was it all in the head? I was like, that I don't know. That's for you to decide. So it's left at a cliffhanger.
Okay.
So open to the readers to think whether there was actually a paranormal entity or was it all in the head. So hence I
And
have said that way.
I would like to ask that what inspired you to write this book? Like, are you really a horror buff? That's why, or maybe you have observed some kind of some experience. Maybe you never know.
Okay. uh, I wouldn't say that I was ever interested in writing horror, very honestly.
Okay.
So basically, my writing journey started with a digital platform for moms called as Moms Press. So I wonder if you've ever come across. Yeah. So this book even was written as a short, an abridged version was
Okay.
released in Moms Presso in 2020. For it was a challenge that was put out to everyone. It was called the My Book Challenge. And initially, I started off thinking about a romantic story or a comedy, which is absolutely not my piece of cake. I mean, comedy, if I have to write, you'll have to tickle yourself to laugh. So that didn't work. Romantic didn't work. I mean, whatever I was writing was not hitting well. I don't know. So basically, I have a friend who said, "Why don't you just try writing thriller?" So it's like, "Arey, no, yeah, thriller takes a lot of effort, to keep that pace, to keep the readers hooked." So she was like, just give it a try. I mean, no harm in trying. And I did try. Try as in I had a. So I was like, first, should I write a murder mystery or should it be horror? So strangely, this nightmare thing came up because I actually had a nightmare of this sort. But not exactly what is there in the book. So like, okay, let's start with a nightmare, maybe a nightmare that probably opens into a mystery. But what is a nightmare? I don't know what's a nightmare. So then there was this small little story that was told to me when I was younger. My cousins, I, and we all were like sitting together and all, and there was this history about my cousins facing a strange paranormal experience at the hostel or the PG house, I believe, where they were staying. So that is there in the book actually. And strangely, when they told me about it, I still vividly remember I relived those moments. I don't know if it's something paranormal or anything, but that was like the most bizarre night of my life. And that also happened like at 12 o'clock. So it was a bad nightmare. And then I was like, "Arey, yeah, this could be the crux of the story." And then I was like, okay, now let me. But even if I have the crux, what next? What's the climax? How's the start? Who are the characters? Absolutely clueless. And then I thought, okay, why not create my villain? And then I created my villain, and the villain had a climax. The climax was ready, and then strangely, I started to think backwards, and my story began to you know start that way. So every chapter I wrote led to the climax, but fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, my first chapter. So Mom's Press used to publish chapter wise. So every time my chapter used to go in, like within a week's time, I'd already had around 10K readers already for that. So
Okay.
that's a huge milestone. And then I was like very
Yeah,
much
yeah.
encouraged, leaving people at
Okay.
cliffhanger. And then so leaving at one chapter used to make me think better. I
Hmm.
wouldn't say that was the best story that I wrote, but for a first timer, I think I did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And that is how the story was even born and how I became a thriller writer in Mom's Press. So I had a name too, that I was a thriller queen. So so I do think I can handle thrillers better than any other genre. So hence I have gone into this. But I do love reading thrillers very much. I love to watch horror, watch thrillers. Everything is a lesson for me to grow better as a writer too. Yes.
That's this interesting. And another thing I would like to tell you here that for the last six episodes that have happened here, all the authors I have invited, they were all horror writers, and some of them were
No.
like really acclaimed. And you are also now become a thriller horror writer.
Yes.
So this is also something very amazing that has happened.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now I want to know that since this is your first work, so was it challenging for you to get published? Did you have any idea how to go about it? How did you get the knowledge and information? I'm asking this because there are many aspiring authors who can get guided and feel some
Absolutely.
some direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure, sure. So, as I told you, began on Mom's Press. So, again, it was a digital platform. They were most encouraging. And while that story had got out there, and I won the challenge, by the way, that time. So, thereafter, there was a person who said, your story has a potential to be published into an entire book. But I believe this has a very less word count. So I was like, yes. I mean, that was somewhere only around 20,000 word count. And basically, I wrote it short also because, again, when you read from a digital platform, you can read only on your phones or your iPads or laptops. So that ease of reading ke liye, I used to keep it very short. So I was like, okay, I will make it bigger and write it better. And this person got me in touch with another person and said that you could probably represent her and go ahead. But somehow things didn't work, and then I was left like, in a no man's land. What is to be done? 4 years sat with this manuscript and literally clueless. And that's when, in between, I made a very, very good friend in the author's world itself. Her name is Nidhi Upadhyay. She's the author of the bestsellers That Night and I Hear You. And she was
Ah, yeah,
very
I've read
kind
her
to.
work.
Yes, yes. She's as good as her book. She's a wonderful human being. I mean, giving me the basic guidance on how to go about with publishing and stuff. She was always very encouraging. And she was like, Sharon, don't worry. You write to every agent you can find in the country, and see, somebody will definitely represent you. But she did mention a specific name, and she was like, definitely write to this gentleman. And he is Suhail Mathur, who absolutely became my agent even. And I would call him a very dear friend, a wonderful guide, a mentor, because even now I keep telling everyone, had he not been with me, I don't think my book would have ever become a reality. So things were, I wrote to everyone, including him, and he was the one who most positively responded. Hi, Sharon. Lovely. I'd love to take this up. It was just one line. Let's have a call. And this call happened in 2021. I signed the contract with him. And thereafter, it was all very, very hassle free. Everything was very clear on his part. The way he went about with everything from the initial submission of the manuscript, from the edits to going to the publisher. And finally, he landed me a publishing contract with Loxley Hall Publishing, who published my debut. That good news came on May 2023. And right after, in December 2023, my book was out. I was like, wow, this is like a dream come true. There, since I've faced so much of rejections, humiliations also, because, strangely, there was a stigma of me being a female author and writing horror. And especially in my society, from where I belong to a Catholic family. There were comments like, you're a devout Catholic writing something like this. How dare you? Like, okay, how dare I? What kind of a question? So I mean, that is the mildest comment I can share here. There were several others, and literally questioning me and my identity. And there was one particular comment. What are you trying to, what kind of good lessons or moral lessons are you trying to give, young people? You have a daughter with you. I was like, in my mind, I didn't answer them. There's no point answering and giving answers to such people. The only thing I know is I followed my passion. I wrote a book and finally had somebody to support me with it. And it's there out for you to read. And when you read, you'll probably know, again, I told you that, it's a thin line between paranormal, this thing, and reality. So once you read it, you'll know exactly what is there in it. So more than, I think, publishing issues, I was facing personal issues. Because everybody behind my life, you could write some romance, or you could have written a self-help book. And strangely, there were also questions that, oh, you released a book. Is it a self-help book? Is it a romance book?
Okay.
So it's, I don't know why women are stereotyped that they can write only that. So that did make me say, like, no, it's horror. You wrote a horror book, okay. So I'm like, I did. Please go by, read it, and let me know your feedback. Okay,
And what was their reaction after the book got released and all? Have they read it, and what was their reaction afterward?
Most of the reaction was pretty positive. Here, I wouldn't say many would have actually tried to read, but of course, since I've born and brought up in Pune, there are a lot of people who bought my book from there, from every other part of the country, who've been messaging me on Instagram. And at least I know they are genuinely saying, Sharon, your book is really, kept us hooked all night, and, you left it at a cliffhanger. I'm glad they understood that it was a cliffhanger. So, like, are you going to write a second part for it? I was like, I don't know. That depends. I mean, it all depends if your book really does a lot of good sales and stuff. I mean, all that is very important too, right? So I think maybe at a certain point, I might give it a shot. But as of now, yes, I think I would just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you have your book with you? I would like to
Yes,
see
I
the
do.
cover
Yes.
page.
So this is my book, Terrace of Midnight.
Wow, this is interesting. Nice. Oh my God, this is your book. You know what? I am a very bad person at buying. I not bad actually. I would say it's a good habit. I buy books a lot. So I was finding some horror books, and yours was coming on my recommendation.
Oh,
And I did not know you that time. I'm telling you. I just got my eye on this cover page and I got attracted because the latest one that's coming from my publishing house is a horror one.
oh,
So
okay.
I really got attracted, and now I'm seeing, Arey, this is the book. Okay. So now I have to buy it.
Please do. I'd be honored.
Okay. So would you like to read something from your book?
Certainly will. So, like I said, being stereotyped, stigmatized as a woman, a Catholic. There's a certain paragraph but that was actually told to me by a priest, and I incorporated it into this book. I'd like to read that so people
Okay.
also know that, it's not about what is there in the book or what you see around you. It's your own personal belief
Hmm.
that ideally
Hmm.
should be reflected.
Okay.
So this is the last chapter in the book.
Okay.
We do believe in whatever Hannah did and wanted us to know. But are these things in parapsychology to be believed? I asked softly. I here is Hazel. My answer remains the same. We believe in God that we have never seen, don't we? That is a state of mind. Believing in a presence is again only a state of mind. And everything in parapsychology, like what Rajat said earlier, are just those unexplainable mental abilities that a human mind may possess. However, here it was a miserable spirit from another realm that tried to take help from two humans, one whom she loved and the other she placed her faith on to help her go forth to her eternal rest. Father smiled. And that is also one reason why we priests must know the few important things needed to be known in parapsychology. We lead the faithful to God. It is purely another way of creating a positive state of mind, a mental ability to accept and believe in someone who is unseen. One God, many names, isn't it? That is also a special ability. And those who don't choose to believe in the unseen God, we have the atheists, don't we? A name we humans have given to non believers. But we never have the right to judge them. To each their own. Father came towards me and gently placed his hand on me. I smiled understandingly.
Oh, that was lovely.
Thank you.
And I would like to know one more thing, that since you are mentioning here parapsychology, so while writing the chapters and while creating those nightmares, you are using a lot of psychology here. So did you have to do a lot of research as well?
Yes, I did have to because I told you reality, and it's like I was trying to connect the real world with the other world. So there were a lot of technical terms that were used, but of course, you understand all of that only once the loopholes are all closed towards the
Hmm.
end of the book. But yes, there had to be a lot of research done. So it's not just like one element that probably affects the real world. It could be a mix of elements too. So I did have a doctor who was supporting me with this as well, Dr. Vishakha Hiparge, and she was the one who gave me all sorts of
Hmm.
knowledge
Information.
and scientific elements to connect all these things together. Yeah.
That's nice. Okay, so another fun thing I would like to know, and this is something interesting I noticed in your profile, that you are a you are an avid K drama lover.
Yeah, yes, I am.
So I want to know that, does it somewhere inspire your writing as well?
Absolutely does. I mean, I do mention in wherever I've been to that I write very episodically. So 16 episodes probably, if this has to be made into a drama, you'll have 16 episodes for sure.
Okay.
So it'll be crisp. I don't know if I have bored here in the initial chapters, but at least I've not got the feedback that way. Slightly slow, but then it picks up very quickly.
Okay.
So I
Slow
would definitely say that K dramas do affect the way I write.
burn. So, do you,
Yes,
in the future, really would like to see these episode? I mean, the chapters of yours from the book as a web series?
I'd love to. If there was any way to it, definitely I'd love to. Besides, I've always been thinking also whether this has a scope of a film or a web series, and I would always say web series because, like you asked, there's a lot of detailing that has gone into the parapsychological elements. So even if agar edit bhi karna hota hai, to at one stretch the entire thing won't digest.
Hmm.
So web series would be a good thing for this book at least.
Wow.
That's what I think
So
so.
I wish you all the very best, and I hope that it gets turned into a web series, and I'll be the one to watch.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am. I really hope
But
so
before
too.
that, I'll read your book.
Please do that.
Okay, so this brings me to the next question, that like, you have written horror, so I would be slightly blunt here. I would like to know that, was it for the market point of view that you thought that horror would be a best idea, or is it like your niche that you have found here? And do you have any other plans to explore some of the other genres, or maybe some sub genres?
No, it was definitely not because of the market. I I love thrillers. I told this book also, I was beginning to write it only as a normal thriller, but it somehow became horror. So I don't know,
So
you
like
know,
you did not have any that kind of fear ki, it will sell or not. You just
no,
wrote
no,
because it came.
nothing. Yes, I was pretty passionate, and the way it formed, probably my first book, it's my baby. So, my first baby as an author. So, it just happened. I mean, even for I had two book launches, one in Pune and one in Kochi. So, in Pune, there was this gentleman by the name Jitendra Dikshit. He's an author himself. So, he was saying, when we write, unfortunately, at least that is the case with me. When I write, it's my fingers who take the story away, not even my brains. It's so even the first chapter when I wrote for Shadows of Midnight, when I wrote the first chapter, there was absolutely no horror element to it, but it went on to that, and then it just continued that way. So probably maybe I might have loved to do it, and it just came out through this book. It is a possibility, but I do like to add a hint of paranormal element anywhere I write. Even if it's a romantic story, probably twist banane ke liye I will add it.
Yeah.
So no, I definitely didn't look at the market. It was just something I was passionate about that came out. And I do know that it is a very difficult market out there because not everybody appreciates horror or thrillers also to an extent. I mean, when I have, so because of Mr. Suhail Mathur, the group that he has, the Book Bakers, several other horror authors like Abhirup Dharsar, you had interviewed him
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He, Siddharth Narvan sir, Neil De Silva sir, all of them, all they say is, right, if you're passionate about writing horror, just go ahead. Someday will notice it. Don't worry. So, stalwarts that like them saying such kind words, that there was absolutely nothing to stop me. So,
That's nice, really
yeah.
interesting. Okay, now I will like to ask you one thing, and this is something that will inspire many women out there. I think also men,
Okay.
because I noticed that you are doing your radio jockeying, and then you are a playback singer, and you will write lyrics, and then you write books. Okay, and then you also have a baby, and you are a homemaker. So how do you manage?
I would just say that I love to do everything I'm doing. Since I'm enjoying everything I'm doing, it just happens. There is no regrets.
Okay.
So, absolutely no regrets. Told you, being an RJ, I get to explore a lot of Hindi music. Being a writer, I am actually spending time reading so many books, and my daughter loves to read. She's already on her way to finishing her second book with Enid Blyton, full-fledged novellas.
Oh
So,
wow.
all that keeps me also going. So when she sees me reading, she's a little monkey who likes to imitate me.
Hmm.
So that's there. Then my job, where again it's a writing job again. Where I work with, I am in charge of the content there. So it's all just happening. I'm very happy with the environment there, and then I've got a lot of support from my family. So there's absolutely nothing to make me feel sad about or feel tired about. If you enjoy what you're doing, I just think it happens.
But does it ever come to you that wish of there was 1 hour extra in a day, like 24 hours? It would have been.
That I think every day is the case.
That comes to everyone, I think.
Yeah, that comes to everyone totally.
Okay.
So that is a normal part of my life. Oh, I wish there was one more hour.
That's nice.
Yes.
So let's move on to the rapid fire. This is the fun
Okay.
segment where I'm going to ask you some fun questions and you can be
All right.
monosyllabic. Okay.
Okay.
So being a singer, the first one that comes is, who is your favorite singer?
Chitra ma'am, ke Chitra.
Okay. So do you have any hidden hobby apart from singing and writing?
Ah, hidden hobby. Wow, it's a rapid fire and I'm not getting any answers. So maybe no.
Okay.
No.
That's fine, you can be honest. So the third one is, do you have any idol whom you look up to?
Dan Brown as a writer. Hmm. Suniti Chauhan ma'am as a singer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Your go-to pastime?
Read books.
Okay. Nice. Any favorite destination on the bucket list?
Bucket list. Bucket list. I would love to revisit Venice again. I've already been there. But bucket list, I would like to go to the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll ever return.
Yeah, that's scary.
I
Okay,
know.
so any favorite Indian author?
I've got several actually. I like Nidhi. Nidhi Upadhyay is fantastic. Neil De Silva sir, Abhirubdar sir.
Hmm.
Then all these are horror authors. Then Siddharth Nirvan sir. Yeah, these are like my favorites. All in horror. Oh,
Now,
I do
last
like Preeti Shenoy ma'am's as well. She writes good romance. Preeti
okay.
Shenoy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The last one is quite interesting. So, who is your favorite character from your book?
My favorite character is Hazel, the protagonist.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rapid fire comes to an end here. Now, I would like to ask you one last question.
Okay.
That if you have to give any advice to new authors who are budding and they want to start their journey as a writer first, when they are
Okay.
drafting their manuscript, what will you suggest?
First and foremost, many people tell, that authors need a disciplined way of writing, something that I don't have, very truthfully saying. Uh, but if at all you're writing, just keep writing. Make sure there's not a day that goes without writing. Because if you started a story, make sure it continues. That's all. Let it go. The first draft is always going to be very ordinary. Read it again, because I know Terrors of Midnight was written ideally in 2020, and the one that came out was 4 drafts later, and still it has issues, because I mean you'll always find issues with your first creation, right?
Yeah.
So uh, keep writing. Have somebody, a mentor or somebody, to read it. The edits are very important. The developments of the characters are very important. And if you really feel set, then you're all there's absolutely no stopping you from going into the publishing world. I mean, I thought it was going to be difficult, but I found the right people in the entire journey, right gang of authors also, all good people, very kind people. And I've always seen authors supporting each other. So
Hmm.
if at all there's a book that comes out and you tell me that this is my debut book, will you please buy it? I'll definitely buy it, no doubt. And I'm sure there are several hundreds and thousands out there who will do the same for you. So don't give up. If you like to write, just write away, and it will definitely become a reality for sure. There is a publisher out there, an agent out there. At least I had one waiting out for me, waiting out
Hmm.
for you too.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sharon. I'm sure many
Thank
new
you.
writers will also get very inspired today because I think that's the mantra that never give up.
So true.
And
Absolutely.
and my light is ditching me today.
No, probably it's a glitch because you're talking to a horror author.
Yeah, it's giving some signs.
Yes.
Yeah, so lovely having you today, Sharon. I really enjoyed talking to you and wishing you
Thank
all the
you.
very best with your book and looking
Thank you
forward to
so
some
much.
more from you and soon going
Thank
to
you.
order your book as well.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Means a lot. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye. So this brings me to the end of the show, and see, this is also some paranormal science happening here. The light is ditching me. Anyways, it was have fun talking to RJ Sharon Joseph, and she is a radio jockey and also a writer. So go ahead, pick her book, and I'll take your leave. This is Mona Lisa Joshi signing off. And if you wish to read my book, The Red Ganges, it's available on Amazon. Order it, you get a signed copy. Bye, take care, have a great evening.